Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Before we dive into the world of ancient Egypt, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even hit that little bell so you don't miss the next relaxing journey through history. It costs nothing, unlike the bread taxes back in ancient Egypt. Yes, they really taxed bread. Tough times. Now, close your eyes if you like. Take a deep breath and let's travel back about 3,000 years along the banks of the Nile.
The Nile was more than a river. To the ancient Egyptians, it was a god. Happy, the bringer of life. Each morning, before the sun climbed over the horizon, the world stirred in silence. The blue lotus opened slowly on the water. And within mud brick homes, families began their sacred routines. In one such house, near the town of Père Bastet, a woman named Nenny stretches in the morning light. Her cat, of course, is already awake, because cats, even divine ones, have no respect for sleep. She slips a hand-woven shawl over her shoulders and makes her way to the hearth. The fire has kept a faint ember through the night. With dried straw and patience, she revives it, just as her mother taught her. She kneels, grinds wheat with a stone mill, her arms moving in a rhythm older than the pyramids. Bread was the heart of every Egyptian meal. Flat, round, coarse, sometimes full of sand if you weren't careful at the grindstone. They called it ta, and it came in countless shapes, cones, twists, loaves shaped like birds. Nenny hums as she prepares the dough, mixing flour with water and a pinch of sour mash. Yesterday's ferment becomes today's rise. She shapes each loaf with care, lays them on hot stones, and watches them swell and darken. Before anyone eats, she places a small piece aside, an offering. To whom? Ra, for the sunlight that grew the grain. Isis, for protecting the home. Osiris, god of life and rebirth, and perhaps the stomach too. The family gathers. Nenny's husband, Kai, returns from the river with fresh water. Their children sleepily rub their eyes, drawn by the smell of warm bread. Breakfast is simple: bread, dates, a few onions, beer, thick, nutritious, more like a drinkable porridge. They called it heket. And yes, even the kids had some. The table? There is none. Meals are shared seated on mats. No forks, no knives, just fingers and laughter. Chew slowly, Kai says, unless you enjoy grinding sand between your teeth. Even the cat gets a bit of fish. Of course she does. She's considered sacred, and she knows it. Behind the house is a small garden: beans, leeks, cucumbers, and coriander. Fig trees shade a clay bench. Papyrus sways near a shallow pool. Nenny plucks fresh herbs, checks on the bees near the flowering acacia, and gathers a handful of lentils to soak for supper. Egyptians believed that food held spiritual energy, that each seed carried the magic of the earth, and each meal connected them to the divine rhythm of life. Even the humble onion was sacred, its layers a symbol of eternity, which is a poetic way to justify bad breath. By midday, the heat presses down. Kay heads to the village market, a shaded maze of stalls and sounds. Vendors shout the price of fresh fish, goose eggs, and honey. Scribes sit nearby, recording trades on sheets of papyrus.
In the corner, a storyteller recites a tale of Horus and Set as children gather wide eyed and grinning. Kay buys lentils, dried dates, and a precious handful of salt, a luxury often traded from faraway lands. As he leaves, a neighbor jokes, "Did you remember the garlic this time, or are we cursing our dinner again?" Back home, Nenny grinds spices in a stone bowl: cumin, coriander, a dash of fenugreek. The stew simmers: lentils, leeks, garlic, and fish from the river. Cooking was not just a task, it was a ritual performed with patience and intention. Even the placement of the pots mattered. Some were believed to heat better when aligned with the stars. Superstition? Maybe, but it made for a good stew. The scent drifts outside, drawing curious neighbors, and naturally more cats. As the sun begins to set, the family gathers once more. The food is shared. Hands dip into bowls. No one eats alone, not if it can be helped. Before the final bite, there is silence, a brief prayer, a nod to the gods. They eat slowly. They talk of dreams, of what the stars might bring. The children ask questions. Why do we offer food to gods who don't eat? Kay smiles. Because gratitude feeds more than hunger. The sky turns deep indigo. The Nile reflects the moonlight. Frogs begin their soft songs. The world slows down. In the quiet, Nenny tidies the hearth. The embers dim. Tomorrow they will be reborn. She places one last piece of bread beside the small statue of Bess, protector of sleep and laughter. And as the house grows still, a single thought drifts through the air. Every meal is a story, a moment of thanks, a quiet miracle. Thank you for spending this time with us, walking along the Nile, listening to stories whispered by the past. If this brought you peace, a smile, or a little wonder, leave a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more quiet journeys through time. Until next time, may your meals be sacred and your cats well fed.